Hey guys, it's Kamrin and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be doing an informational video. I haven't done one of these in a little minute, but I know that the last time I talked about my business and everything, a lot of you guys were asking a bunch of questions. We wanted to kind of go a little bit more in depth about purchasing through Alibaba. Be prepared. I wrote a whole lot. I have a bunch of notes on my phone. All right, so how do you find a supplier for the product that you want? You can obviously find local suppliers in your area or manufacturers. The biggest ones are in LA and New York. I know a lot of the more affordable ones that will work with small businesses tend to be in LA. The problem that I had, because I was initially looking into going to do my manufacturing in LA because I just wanted to pull out overseas, I was going to be required to go to LA several times before collection was launched in order to check that everything was correct, or I was gonna have to have somebody who lived in LA doing that for me, and I personally just did not feel comfortable with having someone handle my business. So it would have to be me going there, and then once again, that's a large cost that gets factored into your pieces because you have to create a budget for stuff. So that has to get factored into the cost of the collection that you're launching. The more expensive it is, the less people are going to want to buy it. However, the easiest supplier platform that I found that basically is like dummy proof is Alibaba, which is what I currently use. So they do provide custom or wholesale. The biggest thing that you want to pay attention to is your MOQ. So MOQ is your minimum order count. I know a big thing that people, because the last time I talked about this in my video, people were saying like, oh, Alibaba's not ethical, like that's so bad, you shouldn't be using them. I think in the past, I'm sure Alibaba was not ethical, but I think now so many more suppliers are just, they're providing that information up front because there was a stigma around Alibaba not being ethical. But if you want to ensure that the supplier that you're using, like I made sure, you can ask them to video chat you and show you like the whole place that they work. But getting into the next biggest thing that I get asked a lot about is how to purchase off of Alibaba and to not get scammed and make sure that you're getting the right things. My biggest rule with Alibaba just in general is to make sure that you order a sample. They tend to use photos that are not theirs. So you can order a sample for something and it not be what you thought it was going to be because they just don't use their own photos. Another thing, let's just use activewear for example, because that's what I know best. Like I will say like, hey, do these leggings have a front seam in the middle? And sometimes a lot of these suppliers are overseas, so there tends to be a language barrier. I find that the best way to push through this, a lot of them do speak pretty good English, but sometimes there's just certain things, like English is not a very easy language to learn, so I'm not blaming them at all. I find that the best way to push through this and kind of get your ideas across is the universal language, which is just pictures, like just show what you want. Another thing is that samples, especially with clothes from my niche and what I understand, samples can be very expensive. So we're gonna talk about doing custom stuff in a minute, but I now do like custom activewear. So there's a lot of stuff that has to get changed, and my samples tend to be about $130 to $180. When I first started on Alibaba, I was like, oh my God, they're ripping me off. I used to think that they were supposed to do samples for free, which is so not the case. They tend to jack up the samples so high because they have to, one, get those materials for you and do the work, but two, they have to make sure that you are just not going to like go on Alibaba and make yourself a custom set and try and pay $20 for it and never place a bulk order. It's just a protection thing for them, I believe. If you are someone that's gonna be purchasing a lot from a supplier, you can probably negotiate with them. I am not at that level yet because a lot of those suppliers require you to be purchasing at least like 5,000 items a month before they're willing to give you free samples. But if you wanna save money with samples, something that I figured out along the process is to ask them like what carrier they're sending it through. So if it's through FedEx, UPS, or DHL, a lot of times they will send it through FedEx just because it's like, to them, it's a more safe carrier. Like FedEx almost never has issues, but they charge higher for that because they know that they never have issues. So you can ask them, like sometimes I'll tell them like, hey, I don't want to send it through FedEx, can you send it through UPS? And it'll save me like maybe 15, 20 bucks sometimes. So that's just a way to save a little bit of some coin. And sometimes I've noticed that they will send it express shipping if you don't need it in like 1 to 7 days. you can ask them to not send it express shipping, and they can send it to you in like 10 to 14 days, and that tends to be a little bit cheaper as well. And another thing you want to make sure you're doing with samples for sure, because I've heard so many horror stories of people who purchase samples through Alibaba and it was a complete scam. Make sure that you're buying through Alibaba, so you're processing your payment through Alibaba. Some people, and it is possible to get scammed because I've seen it, some people will ask you to pay outside of Alibaba and through PayPal. I did have a supplier that asked me to do that, but I had already been working with her for a long time, so I trusted her. But I would suggest for any new suppliers, at least for the first 1 to 5 times, like make sure that you're doing everything through Alibaba, because Alibaba provides you protection in case things were not as described, or didn't get shipped out as fast enough, or they just screwed you over in some way. Alibaba's like PayPal, like it's just a middleman. The third thing is when you're looking like for the product that you're gonna buy, you wanna make sure that you're also factoring in overseas shipping into your costs. For example, like my boyfriend's mom, she was looking for these like little container things, and I was telling her, I'm like, oh, she was looking on Amazon, and they're like $30 on Amazon. I was like, girl, just go on Alibaba. They're probably like 4 cents on there, you can buy them. But yes, it was 4 cents, but then the overseas shipping was like $40, so it ended up being cheaper for her to just purchase them off of Amazon. So you want to make sure, especially if you're ordering a lower count, to see if it's going to actually be worth it for you to purchase through Alibaba, or would it be better for you to purchase locally. Alibaba is only useful if you're purchasing a large quantity. It's sometimes easy to be like, oh, I'm just gonna buy all this, I'll sell it eventually. Once again, you do not want to be sitting on excess stock. It's actually so important, especially as a business, to have like this allure of selling out. Like people attract towards things that they think other people want. So even if you have like 10 items and it sells out, people don't know what your quantity is unless you tell them. You could basically make it seem like you have 5,000 items and they sold out in a day. And that's gonna have everyone like, oh crap, like that must be an amazing product. Like everybody bought it, it sold out in a day, I have to get it. That's like Supreme. Supreme maximized off of that. One of the activewear brands that I look up to like crazy is Set Active. I buy their stuff all the time. I've even noticed their marketing work on me. Because Set Active sells out so quickly, their customers rush to get it, because it's like, first of all, Set Active has an amazing marketing strategy. They sell the same exact design but in limited edition colors, and those colors never come back. So they create that drive within people to be like, shit, I have to get this color and I've got to get it fast. The more you sell out, the faster you push sales, the better it is for you. So we're gonna talk about the custom designs thing on Alibaba. The thing about custom is that it tends to not be for people that have to only purchase low amounts. So I would say you at least need to be purchasing at least 50 items per color or more. That's about the lowest I've ever seen. Swimsuits, if you're in a swimsuit business, it tends to be a little bit lower. They'll do like about 20 for you per design per color. Also, MOQs tend to be different for different designs. So back to activewear with what I do, the seamed designs, like the leggings that have seams and stuff, the MOQ tends to be lower because it's easier for them to make them. The seamless leggings are much higher. Also, you want to make sure, once again, about the samples, make sure that you perfect all samples before ordering bulk. I don't care if you have to change, even if it's just like, oh, I'm just gonna change the color, like it'll be fine because I saw the swatch and it'll be okay, so I'm just gonna push it into bulk. Because I made that mistake once with swimwear. I changed the color last minute, and I had just seen the swatch through the phone, and I was like, oh, I guess purple will be fine. Let's go ahead and send that into production. And when I got swimsuits in person, it was not the purple I was expecting. So make sure you get samples for every little thing. I don't care if you're just changing like half an inch on the sleeve, get the sample done. When they take photos of the swatches, it tends to look different because of the phone colors just change stuff. So one, you can either ask for them to send you a swatch book, which you will have to pay for. It will be very expensive. It tends to be about 200 bucks if you're getting like a big swatch book. Or you can order the sample in the color that you like and then ask them to send you cut out pieces of the rest of the swatches, which they will sometimes do for free if they have that fabric on hand. If they have to order it, they might charge you a little bit for it, but typically they'll send you that for free. Or your third option is to ask for a video. I feel like video for some reason shows it a little bit more true to color, but once again, there is a difference with that. In terms of if you're gonna be ordering wholesale from Alibaba, once again, like I said, they take photos of stuff that they're replicating. So they, like, I noticed a lot of Sasky's photos make it onto Alibaba because they're replicating those designs, but it's not the same exact thing. So what I used to get really played with that one because I was like, oh cool, it's like the exact same design. Like I can just do it in a different color. It's the same thing that I love. But you have to make sure that you're actually asking for their actual product photos, because sometimes they will put like other companies' photos and then that's not even what they're making. You can be like, oh, can I order a sample? And you get the sample and it's like, that wasn't even what you guys had as your photo. If they tell you like, oh, we don't have any photos on hand, or it's all the way in the warehouse, I don't want to get it, then don't even bother, because you need to see those actual photos. Like, you're gonna waste your time if you don't see the actual photos. Sometimes they do show the actual photos if you scroll down to the bottom of the product page. And then another thing that you can do to make sure that you even save yourself money before even getting the sample, you wanna make sure you familiarize yourself with like materials, the weight of materials, blends and everything. So for me personally, I know when creating activewear, I want something that has a mix of either nylon, spandex, cotton, something that has stretch in it. But I would suggest that if you are going into clothing, to learn your materials and your blends and also the weights of your items, because especially with activewear and especially with lighter colors, a lot of suppliers cheap out on that kind of stuff, and the material is very thin, it's see-through, and you've ordered the sample that costs you $80 and it's very see-through. Or you can also ask them to send you a video of the material. So what I ask sometimes is for them to put it on either a mannequin or for someone in the warehouse to try it on, to squat in it. I need to see it moving. Some wholesalers allow you to make changes to items. I believe this is called OEM. I have never done that myself, just because like for example, like let's say back to this top again, like I saw this supplier, this wholesaler, they make this top. And when I purchased it from them, this top was quite see-through. I didn't like it. It wasn't good material. I can just find another supplier who makes this exact same design and they'll make it better quality. I don't even bother going with the suppliers and being like, hey, can I change this and this and this and that? Because there's probably somebody else who makes it that's better quality. So I just wouldn't suggest that. I think it's kind of a waste of money. And then also they tend to require high MOQs even for OEMs. So it's basically like a custom item when you can just find somebody who makes the same exact design for the low MOQs. So if you find a company that's really good and makes their stuff very well, stick to it, you know, build a good relationship with them. I feel like the biggest thing with manufacturers is building a good relationship. I have a good relationship with mine. I'm tight with mine. We homies. They message me when stuff is about to launch, like wholesale items or things. I don't do wholesale too much anymore, but some of them that I do, they'll message me and be like, hey, we haven't launched this yet. Do you like this? Is it something that fits? The longer you're with them, the more they understand the kind of things that you like. So you want to build that good relationship. That's pretty much it. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative and it gave you some new information. If there's any other topics you want me to cover, or if you have any questions, feel free to drop them down. I will answer you guys, because I know this is a lot of stuff. A lot of information can be kind of confusing. And I know there's just things you want to know. So yeah, if there's any other videos you guys would like me to do, especially related to like business stuff, I love talking about this because I like learning things and then letting you guys know. I know a lot of people don't like to share this kind of information, but I feel like we can all help each other and there's enough room for everyone to grow. So that's gonna be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up and follow all my social media because it helps me get paid as well. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching.